Hello everyone, come book shopping with me. I started off at Goodwill, which I didn't realize was a bookstore at first, but I was able to find 2 books from my list here. They had a pretty good selection, though it was relatively small, but I ended up getting like 4 books in total because they had some really good ones, which was a bit surprising. And of course I saw Norwegian Wood, which I'm glad was donated, but still hate that book. Next, we went to Village Well, which is a cute bookstore and cafe with my friend Alex. There she is. This is our second time coming here together. They have expanded into like a whole other part of the store, so it's a lot bigger than it was the last time we were here. It also has a nice cafe as well, but it's a very cute independent bookstore in Culver City. I really like coming here, and the area is also really fun to be around. For this whole book shopping trip, my goal was to look for classics because I'm building a classics TBR that will come out in another video, but I obviously had to look at the Frankenstein books because it's my new obsession, and I saw this really cool cover which I hadn't seen before, so that was cool. And then, always just had to explore what was out in fiction. Peek some Frederick Bachman there and a few other things. Then we stopped for some ice cream, obviously, and we made it to the Ripped Bodice, which I didn't even realize they had an LA store, but it was right down the street, so I wanted to go check it out. They had a whole Jane Austen display. This store is like mainly based on romance and romantasy type books, so a little up my alley, but not like completely, as I don't read too much romance right now. But they had a lot of really interesting setups, and I loved the layout of the store. They had this really cute bookmark that I actually ended up getting, and a few other ones as well. And they had like a whole sticker wall, which I was obsessed with, but I didn't film. Now, on a completely different day, I ended up going to Barnes & Noble with Kaylin. There was a new release he really wanted to get, The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, which took us forever to find. It was not in this new release section, it was in a different weird one, I don't know where. But I also ended up buying more books because I can't help myself. I always love to look at their recommendation options to see what they write about certain books. So yes, The Discovered Witches did seem very Outlander and Twilight combined, so I don't think I'll ever get to that though. The Sword Heart is a newer T. Kingfisher book, I believe. I have read a couple books from her, but I'm not completely sold. This is the second book to The God and the Gumio, which I didn't realize was already out, so that was nice to see. And then just browsing around before finally deciding which books I will actually buy. There's always something fun to look at in bookstores, so I like taking my time. Hi everyone! I am finally back in front of the camera after a very long time of not filming myself. I've filmed other things, as you saw earlier, but I haven't actually done this sit-down thing in a long time, so I might be a little rusty. But I finally am going to talk through all the books that I've bought over the past 2 videos, because I also did some book shopping when I was in Ojai. If you want to check out that vlog, I'll link it up here. And so we'll get right into it. I'll kind of break it down by the stores, but like I said earlier, a lot of these are classics, and I'll be doing a separate video on my entire classics TBR because that I'm currently building, but I'm not quite there yet, and so I still have a lot to figure out on like my priority list because there are just way too many classics. But I did get a good amount in these book shopping vlogs. I also have a couple special editions that I've gotten since the last time I showed you them, so I'll cover those as well. So I'm going to start out with the things I found at Goodwill at the beginning of this video. I was able to find 4 books. Shockingly, 2 of them were already on my like classics TBR. They're modern classics. And then I was able to find one for like my Read Around the World challenge that I've heard people talk about, and then one that was like basically brand new, a newer release from last year that was part of the shortlist for the Booker Prize, I believe, the International Booker Prize, that Ellen has read, and I was very curious about it, and she really liked it. So I will get to that in a second, but the first one I picked up that you saw is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This one I have read in high school and don't remember a single thing. I never really actually read things. I spark noted everything, but I got by somehow. So I really wanted to read this, see how I felt about it as an adult, actually understanding what was going on. That was my biggest issue with like the books that we were told to read in high school. they were too big-brained for me, at least. Like, I just was not developed enough to like really understand the impact of these stories, and I feel like you had to live life a little more to really understand how important these stories are. So that's why I kind of want to retackle a lot of the classics that I read in high school or other times, as well as ones I haven't read at all yet, but this one I have read. So honestly don't even remember what this book is about, but it was written in 1937 by Zora Neale Hurston, and it is an enduring Southern love story sparkling with wit, beauty, and heartfelt wisdom, told in the captivating voice of a woman who refuses to live in sorrow, bitterness, fear, or foolish romantic dreams. It is the story of fair-skinned, fiercely independent Janie Crawford and her evolving selfhood through 3 marriages in a life marked by poverty, trials, and purpose. Life story, which I really enjoy those books now. I didn't at the time, but I'm excited to actually get to this and actually comprehend what I'm reading. The next book that was on my modern classics list that I read in high school is a book that I actually did really read, and I actually really liked it, and it really impacted me. I even made like a weird sculpture with like Emerson quotes because of it. And so that is Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. This one, I understood, you know, I could comprehend what the story was saying, but I really want to kind of, having lived more life, have a new understanding of this book and the impact. And so I am ready to read it. It's pretty short, so easy to get into, but this is about technically nonfiction, I guess, about the life of Christopher McCandless, who decides to leave everything and go live in the wild, basically, on his own with nothing. And so it's a true story. And he's a big fan of David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson, so there's a lot of quotes in this book of those two, and so I'm curious to see what I feel about now. Next is a, I'm not sure new book, but new to me book, and that is Migrations by Charlotte McConaghy. This is an Australian author. I think this might be my pick for Australia's Read Around the World Challenge. Also, Ellen at the LMA Book Club has a diversity book bingo challenge with a migration prompt, I believe, and like this is literally called Migration, so I assume it is about migration. But we will see. I'll read it to you real fast. Franny Stone has always been the kind of woman who is able to love but unable to stay. Leaving behind everything but her research gear, she arrives in Greenland with a singular purpose: to follow the last Arctic terns in the world on what might be their final migration to Antarctica. Franny talks her way into a fishing boat, and she and the crew set sail, traveling ever farther from shore in safety. But as Franny's history begins to unspool, a passionate love affair, an absent family, a devastating crime, it becomes clear that she is chasing more than just the birds. When Franny's dark secrets catch up with her, how much is she willing to risk for one more chance at redemption? You know, interesting little mystery there. I love that she's following the migration of terns. I assume they're birds. There's birds on the cover. So, yeah, interesting subject, but I realized this is not based in Australia. It's kind of the journey from Greenland to Antarctica, so I'm not sure if this will be my pick for Read Around the World. We'll see, but I'm still gonna read it anyways. You know, I can read multiple books from authors from all around the world. So that's that. And then lastly, we have The Crooked Plow by Itamar Vieira Jr. This one, I was really intrigued when Ellen read the first chapter or so for one of her, like, trying to figure out what book to read next videos. And so she's finished it by now and really enjoyed it, though it was less magical realism than she kind of expected. But I'm still really interested in this story. It is Brazilian, and I'll read it to you. Deep in the neglected hinterland of Bahia, Brazil, 2 sisters find a mysterious knife beneath their grandmother's bed. Momentarily mystified by its power, they decide to taste its metal. The shuddering violence that follows marks their lives and binds them together forever. So I knew that opening part from the first chapter that Ellen was talking about, so not surprising there, but yeah, I'm very curious to see where this story will go. So those are the 4 books I got at Goodwill. I mean, kind of Goodwill. It was a bookstore Goodwill, but Goodwill. The next place we went to was Village Well. It's an independent bookstore. If you didn't know, Goodwill was used books, which I think I don't have to explain. But, you know, maybe people internationally don't know what Goodwill is. So that's a used bookstore. It's thrift store chain, basically. The next Village Well is an independent bookstore, so they're not used, they're new books. But I did pick up 2 books there, and both by the same author. And you might think I'm crazy, but the first one I got is Frankenstein, the 1818 text, because this is, I think, the more unedited version. I think the one I read was like the 3rd edition, or 3rd like edited edition, I guess that's what edition means, by Mary Shelley. And so I'm very curious what the original text is, because I am obsessed with that book, just a little bit. I loved Mary Shelley's writing, so I also wanted to pick up another book that she also wrote, which is kind of surprising because I don't feel like people really know she has written other books, and that is The Last Man. And I think this one is more of a dystopian book. Yeah, about climate change, a pandemic, end of mankind kind of novel. I don't want to read the back because I don't want to spoil too much for myself, because I kind of want to go into it blind. But I love this cover, you know, it's a good Penguin Classics. And if you haven't realized, I am starting to collect the Penguin Classic editions just because they're nice. I usually like the cover art, and I just like that they're black spines and like they all match. So I'm not like married to it, as you'll see. I didn't get all of the classics in this Penguin Classics version, but if I can find it, I will do that. Or if I just don't like the translated version of some of these, then I'll pick a better one. So excited to get to a new Mary Shelley. So these are my 2. Yeah, I mean, I got Frankenstein again because I will want to reread it eventually again. Not anytime soon, because I literally read it like a couple months ago, but I want to be able to read something slightly different, you know, get a different experience than just rereading the same book. And so I'm excited that I picked this up also. And I was just kind of on a Frankenstein kick at the moment. Speaking of Frankenstein, my mom, she asked me what I wanted when she was going to France with her boyfriend. And I was like, oh, if you find like a French copy of Frankenstein, sure. I think I've been wanting to collect a book in different languages from where I travel. I originally was trying to do that with Piranesi, but it's not as widely popular as a book internationally, I would say. It's a lot harder to find like translated copies into other languages, and so I switched over to Frankenstein because that is like a very well-known classic, and she was able to find this really cool French copy hardback of Frankenstein, so I'll show you. It's really pretty. She did a great job. And yeah, here's like the inside cover, but really cool edition. Not that I'll ever be able to read it, like I can't read French, but if you can, there you go, there's a little snippet. But yeah, maybe one day, maybe I'll learn French, or enough French that I'll be able to read it, but that's I think asking a little too much of me, because I'm already learning other languages that I haven't even gotten far in, and it's been like 4 years. So on to the next. Okay, then I went to Barnes & Noble way later with Kaylin because he wanted to get books, and I was already filming this vlog, so I thought I would buy more because, you know, why not? And honestly, I haven't bought that many this year, and this is probably gonna hold me over for a long time. I have no plans to buy any new books anytime soon, other than obviously the book boxes, because that's just something I've subscribed to at this point. Okay, but getting into it, I bought 2 more classics that I've been looking for at all the other previous stores and just couldn't find in good condition, at least, or just like couldn't find, even in Ojai, which was kind of surprising because they had a huge selection there. But also, like, in specific editions, I was looking for the Penguin Classics, but neither of these are the Penguin Classics. I kind of went with different editions even, based on how I saw they were translated or explained, I would say, because I think one of them was written in English anyways. But first one is Inferno by Dante. This is part of the Divine Comedy. It's the first part. I guess it's technically a poem. I didn't realize. I think both of these are poems, but they're more like novel poems, like epic poems, I would guess. And obviously everyone knows what Dante's Inferno is. It's his descent into hell. And so this one, I mean, look at this cover. It's beautiful. I mean, like that's kind of why I fell in love with it. But it also is very simple in terms of like the translation notes are all in the back. and I'd rather just read through what it is, and then if I have any questions I can go to the back rather than it being on the same page, which I think other editions were more like that. Then I got Paradise Lost by John Milton. I didn't mention that I haven't ever read Inferno, but I have read Paradise Lost in high school, or I like read it, as I said, and I don't remember anything except for the opening part of the book, because I did an art project based on that for class. So that's like the only thing I remember about this book. But I mean, I love this cover too, very interesting. This is the Modern Library edition. This one is the UNSQ edition. I don't know if I said that. This one, I kind of opposite to what Dante's Inferno was, but I was trying to read the first few pages, and the other edition that I was looking at for this didn't really specify what was like an introduction part than like the actual start of the book, because it was really confusing what was like actually part of the book or like before the story starts. And like here you can see it starts as book 1, and then once it gets into the actual book, it turns into kind of like the verse type writing with the information on the page, which I do like in this case because there's specific things said that I don't really quite understand. But the other one just kind of went in, it all looked like this, the verse, and I was really confused because it didn't really seem like part of the book. So yeah, I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but I ended up going with this edition, and I hope I like it. I hope I chose right, but I think I did. And yeah, this, and I'm just going back and forth. Can't even find who translated this. Yeah, I don't know who translated this because this was originally Italian, so that's kind of weird, but on to the next. And lastly, in terms of book shopping, this is what I got on my Ojai trip to Bart's Books, which is my favorite used bookstore ever. It is outdoor. Once again, if you haven't seen that vlog, I recommend go checking it out. It's beautiful. I ended up getting 5 books there, 3.5 being classics. I guess this one could be considered a classic, so I'll start with those because I feel like we're getting classic fatigue a little bit. But the 0.5 is Sleepy Hollow. These are short stories by Washington Irving, which I believe are considered classics at this point, more like children's classics, I believe. But I've always been very curious about Sleepy Hollow. And I mean, look at this cover. I kind of am obsessed, and it was only like $7, so why not? And I thought this would be perfect for a short read in the fall time as well. So that was my first book. Next 2 are Jane Austen books because I want to continue reading more because I have only read Pride and Prejudice. And so the first 2 I'm going to tackle are Sense and Sensibility and Emma. And I think these I will really like. I think I really like Sense and Sensibility. I've seen that version of the movie. I've never seen an Emma adaptation, honestly, because I've been wanting to read it before making my decision. But the Sense and Sensibility one with like Kate Winslet and Emma Thompson, yes, Emma Thompson, I really, really loved. And Hugh Grant and Alan Rickman. Yeah, it was a great cast. So I'm very curious what the book story is actually like. And so I'm excited to get to these next. And then lastly, my last classic on this list is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This one I'm excited to get after Frankenstein, you know, the big monster books of classics. I want to read Dracula because I was a big fan of Frankenstein, and I actually watched Nosferatu, which is based off of more of the actual story of Dracula. And I love that, and so I really want to read this. And then my friend Alex, who I was with shopping, had read this and really liked it as well. And so it's funny, I'm actually seeing Alex later today after filming, so she's not my only friend, but I do like seeing her and we hanging out. Yeah, so excited to get to this. And then lastly, one I've been like really eyeing for a long time, but it's another like short story anthology. I usually never finish those, but I'm really interested in reading more from Indigenous authors, and this is kind of an introduction to a bunch of them. And that is Never Whistle at Night, and it is edited by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Alst Jr. and it's an Indigenous dark fiction anthology. So kind of like horror, dark themed stories, which is, you know, right up my alley, and I'm very excited. Tommy Orange does have a story in this, and you know, I love Tommy Orange, and I'm trying to see if I can recognize any other names in here, which is sad. Rebecca Roanhorse, no. That's it for now, but I will soon know all of their names, which I'm excited for, and you know, see if I'll find any new faves. So yeah, I got one short story collection, and that wraps up the books I bought via shopping vlogs. The last two books are two more recent special editions that I got in book boxes. So I'll start with the one I'm more excited for, and that is A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. This is an Illumicrate edition, so I'll show you the front cover. Here's the back, here's the middle, and then ooh, this, I didn't even like look at the front cover yet, but here's the front cover. Very pretty. And then here's the cover page. Here's that. And then here's the other side. I have read other Elizabeth Lim books, so I'm actually really excited for this one. I read Six Crimson Cranes and A Dragon's Promise. I still need to get to Her Radiant Curse. I have not read her other series. I believe she has one more YA series, but this is her newest release, and so I'm excited to pick something up from her again. This one I think is about, what is it about? Truyan Saigas didn't choose to become a con artist, but after her father is lost at sea, it's up to her to support her mother and two younger sisters. A gifted art forger, True has the unique ability to paint the future, but even such magic is not enough to put her family back together again or stave off the gangsters demanding payment in blood for her mother's gambling debts. Left with few options, True agrees to a marriage contract with the mysterious Dragon Lord. He offers a fresh start for her mother and sisters and elusive answers about her father's disappearance, but in exchange she must join him in his desolate undersea palace and paint a future so treasonous it could upend both the mortal and immortal realms. I love a good marriage contract, honestly. So I think this will be fun. Hopefully. I'm hoping. I enjoyed her writing though. Though The Dragon's Promise, the sequel to Six Crimson Cranes, could have been way better, but she's grown since, so we'll see. And then lastly, this is a newer dark academia release, I believe, and that is The Incandescent by Emily Tesh. This one, I think it follows a teacher in a school. I will read it and then show it to you because I have it open right now. Dr. Walden is one of the most powerful magicians in England and the director of magic at Chetwood School. After completing her graduate thesis by binding a powerful demonic entity into a phoenix tattoo on her forearm, she returned to her alma mater to teach. Now her days consist of meetings teaching A-level invocation to 4 talented and chaotic teenagers, more meetings, and securing the school's boundaries from demonic incursions. Walden is good at her job. No, Walden is great at her job. When a new threat emerges in the form of a higher demon that has long awaited patiently just beyond the school's wards, an entity known sardonically as Old Faithful, Walden and her colleagues, including the aggressively competent Laura Kenning, may be able to contain it. But demons are masters of manipulation, and Old Faithful is only the beginning of their problems. It's Walden's responsibility to keep her school with its 600 students and centuries-old legacy safe, and it's possible the entity Walden needs to keep her school safe from is herself. I haven't heard anyone read this yet. This is like very new release, I believe. I actually think I have a book box like in the mail at the moment that I haven't picked up. Maybe I'll go make Kaylin pick it up and I can add it to the end of this video. But back to this book. It's like a see-through cover, which is always fun. I've gotten one more of these before for The Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I think I might have given that one away though, to a friend. This is the opening page, and this is the back, and then this is the main cover, hardback cover. Really cool. I like it. And then there's like metallic side pages, I guess. I'm very curious about this one. I don't think it's too long, which is nice, but I feel like more recent dark academia has just not been hitting for me. The last one I DNF'd, it was Immortal Dark, so we'll see. You know, I'll always try a dark academia because I love it. Oh, I also forgot to show you like the bookmarks that come from Bart's books. They're really cute. They're like little cat, kind of looks like Picard, so I love it. They gave me like 3 of them though. I'm like, I don't really need that. But they all have their own quotes on them as well, like a Van Gogh one. I don't know if you could read that, but there's that as well. Thank you, honey. I'm back again because I got my book box. I have the best fiance. So this is obviously Illumicrate. I don't usually do my unboxings on camera, but might as well since I'm doing a whole video today. So this one has goodies in it also, but the theme was darkly decadent. I don't remember what book this is. Oh wait, oh, I think I do, and I think you guys will be excited. Okay, first thing we got is whatever this is. It is, oh, ooh, it is a mug. I have a few of these in this style, but this is very pretty. I need to like block my face so you can see what the mug is. This is from The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. So one to add to the collection. I think I have one from like Jade City, Fourth Wing, and then Murderbot. Random. I've only read Jade City from those so far. But they are good size mugs, so I use them quite often. Okay, these are recipe cards. They're really pretty. There's the instructions and then the front. So this could definitely come in handy. I don't typically use recipes when I cook, but I rarely cook, so Kaylin might use these. This recipe book is inspired by Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, which I do have. So that will be interesting once I read it. This is a picnic blanket. Ooh, I'm actually happy about that. It's inspired by House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. If you want to see me rant about what I didn't like about that book, feel free to check out this video. But still the vibes were immaculate, so this will be a fun picnic blanket, I think. It comes in like a carrying case, which is really nice too. We'll see. Or I guess it folds into the carrying case, but I'm not gonna undo the whole thing, but here's the gist. This is actually really handy though. I'm actually really happy I got this because I've been really wanting a picnic blanket for a long time, and this is cute. So happy with this one. This kind of makes the whole box worth it, honestly, when you get something like this that is like really useful. And I'm making way too much noise for you guys to understand what I'm saying. Oh, and I could fold it back up not too badly. So that's number 3. This is the next thing. Ooh, another one of these. We use our current one also. So this is a spoon rest with Saint on it. Very cool. This is inspired by This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings. We have an autumn themed one from last time. I'm not sure if it was from Illumicrate or not, but a new one that we can switch out while cleaning them is probably nice because I don't think we clean that one often enough. So this is really nice. I like when we get like dishware too. It's just more useful. And then lastly, oh wait, I totally forgot to show you my coolest special edition, so I'll get to that in a second. But we have this new one. This is the one, that's the one I thought this was, but I already got that one and I forgot I did. This is A Treachery of Swans by A.B. Poranek. So here's the cover, here's the back, here's the spine, here's the sprayed edges. And let's see what's inside. Ooh, okay, these hardback covers are beautiful recently, like for most of the books that I've been getting. Look at this. Look at this castle. Is this like Swan Lake themed? I kind of get that vibe. There's nothing on the other cover, but that's fine. And then we got the end papers. There's this one. And then there is this one. Okay, let's see what this one's about. Magic has long been outlawed in Ariel. Odile has always known she'd be the one to restore it. Raised by a sorcerer, Odile has spent years preparing for the heist of a lifetime. It's perfectly simple. Impersonate a princess, infiltrate the palace, steal the enchanted crown, and restore magic to the kingdom. But when the king is unexpectedly murdered, she's forced to recruit the help of Marie, the real princess, and the two begin to unravel a web of lies and deceit that leaves Odile uncertain of whom to trust. Soon, though, Odile must decide her mission or the girl she's falling for. The fate of the kingdom depends on her making the right choice. Interesting. Yes, I think it is inspired by Swan Lake, or like The Swan Princess, the movie I loved growing up. That will be what I picture while reading this book. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I didn't skip it for a reason, because I like the vibes. So we'll see. And now I'm gonna go find the book that I meant to show you earlier also. Give me a second. Y'all, I scoured everywhere to find this book. I could have sworn that I got it delivered because I remember looking at it, but I could not find it. So I was like, did I imagine getting this book? But then I found it. It was like behind a bunch of stuff. So I got Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab in this beautiful special edition. I have a friend that has read this recently, and honestly the way she described it was exactly how I felt about Addie LaRue. It's not enough romance for what it's trying to do. I kind of felt the same with Addie, so we'll see. I am curious to try it. It is a little chunkier than I expected, but this is a sapphic vampire book, I think. Yes, story about hunger, but let me show you how pretty it is. So here's the cover, here's the side, here's the back, here's the edges, here's the hardback cover, spine, back, and then the flip cover is the original cover but in pink, not blue. And then end papers are this, and then this. So I think this spans, oh, it's here. So this is a story about hunger, 1532, Santo Domingo de la Calzada. A young girl grows up wild and wily, and Maria knows she can only ever be a pawn in men's games. So when an alluring stranger offers an alternate path, Maria makes a desperate choice. A story about love, 1827, London. A young woman lives a cloistered life on her family's estate until a moment of forbidden intimacy sees her shipped off to London. Once there, a beautiful widow offers Charlotte her freedom, but at what cost? A story about rage, 2019, Boston. College was supposed to be a fresh start. That's why Alice moved halfway across the world. Then, an out-of-character one-night stand leaves her questioning everything. Alice throws herself into the hunt for answers and revenge. This is a story about life, how it ends and how it starts again. Very, very intriguing premise. And I love like the 3 different time periods that we get. It is sounding a lot like Addie LaRue though, so I'm curious to compare the two because they're from the same author, so it's interesting if it will be similar or not. So I am curious, but this one is like over 500 pages, like 530 or something. So it's longer than I ideally like for like standalones, but we'll see. I think the only thing I've read from B. Schwab is Addie LaRue, so curious if I like anything else from her. I know these two are kind of very different from her other like series, so we will see. Well, I hope you enjoyed this book shopping journey and big haul, honestly. Obviously, I had a lot of fun doing it and buying the books, and now I just gotta go read them. I've been really slow to reading recently, so I really need to pick up my pace so I can get to these beauties. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.